Hi there, this is a video for my grade 12s in the Essential Math course, and we are going to be looking at the new unit on vehicle finance. So we're going to go through lessons 1 and 2 today because they're both quite short, and maybe before we even get started, I want to point out to you that this unit will end with a hand-in assignment where you guys have to pick a vehicle for sale here somewhere or close to Winnipeg or in Winnipeg, and go through the math of what it would actually take to purchase it and pay for it on a payment plan installment, what it would cost to maintain it and to put gas in it and keep it on the road, assuming it's a gas-powered vehicle. So you could start thinking about that right away. It wouldn't be a bad idea to do what I've done here, and I've got just went and did an internet search, just take a good old Google and New Cars Winnipeg or New Car Deals Winnipeg, and you can see that you get ads for local Ford dealerships and Toyotas and Currents, McPhillips, Toyota, and you can find all kinds of things. One website that I wouldn't mind kind of pointing out to you is the Auto Trader. Auto Trader is a free guide that you can pick up at like 7-Eleven or at a supermarket or the grocery store, and or you can just look at it online, and it lists people that have new and used vehicles for sale. It'll be your choice at the end whether you pick a new or a used vehicle, but feel free to start browsing. Now, I would point out that the people who have ads at the very top, the priority listings, they've paid for that. So sometimes it helps to narrow down the search to what kind of make, as in what do you want, a Toyota or a Mercedes or whatever, what kind of model. And I'd also ask you to start thinking reasonably. Yes, we'd all love to drive Mercedes. We'd all love to be able to drive really fancy, expensive vehicles. I'm not giving you an assignment asking you to drive your dream vehicle. Here we go. Here's a Porsche 911 for $259,000. Let's assume that nobody here has that kind of money and isn't going to for their first vehicle purchase in their life. Here's an Audi Spider for, again, $250,000. I mean, we could all go crazy and look for our dream vehicles, but let's try to pick something more reasonable. Maybe, say, for example, you're going to be somebody who sees yourself working a business that involves having to move things. Even though trucks are expensive, that might be a reasonable thing for you to buy because it's going to be part of your business. Maybe you just see yourself needing something more along the lines of a good little people mover and not something that's $200,000 like this, but you might want to think about something that just is going to be able to commute you and whatever family you might have around, in which case you might be looking for something along the lines of a, don't worry about entering that. Well, I guess maybe you do have to enter that. Search filter, so there we go, there's mice. There's my, oh, actually, let's use the schools. That way it's close to where you guys live. R3T 3B3. I think that's the school, actually, right there. Close enough. Enter anything close. Here we go. Something like a Hyundai. There's another big truck, and again, look at how expensive trucks can get when they're brand new. Something like, again, here we go, a Chevy Malibu. That's a fairly reliable vehicle. You can start looking around. You can look for things that are bigger, smaller. There's that Porsche again. That must be somebody close to our neighborhood. And you can start looking around for things that are more reasonable. You just go search further into the list here, and you'll find things a little more reasonable than extremely. Here we go. Dodge Grand Caravan, right? Something that you might want to move lots of family members in. Okay, so you can start looking around on websites like that. And again, we're not looking for our fantasy vehicles like we've won a lottery or something. We're looking for something realistic that you might actually buy in the real world. Hey, if we're looking for fantasy vehicles, I've always wanted to own a Batmobile. So I could look for Batmobiles. Here's a 1960s Batmobile. Here's the one from the 1980s. This one's only 110,000. Oh, this one's 10 million. Very nice. So yeah, I don't think I'll be buying a Batmobile anytime soon. And guess what? You're not buying a Porsche 911 anytime soon either. Heck, you know what? I've just changed my mind. I don't want a Batmobile. I want the Mystery Machine. That's right. I want to drive around with a large dog and solve mysteries with my friends. So let's see. Did it say how much this was? No. It's going to be a lot though, because I guess it's one of those things. If you have to ask how much it's worth, you probably can't afford it. So again, till I win a lottery, I'm not buying the mystery machine, and you're not buying a Porsche or a Audi Spider or a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. You're going to get something reasonable. So keep that in mind. Later this unit, that's something you're going to be doing. You're going to be looking for a vehicle that you can afford or on monthly payments, assuming that you have a reasonably good job. And there we go. That'll be later on in the unit. Let's get ourselves started with lesson 1, owning a vehicle of your own. And of course, we have to talk about the costs. The operating costs of a vehicle include the costs of owning, regular maintenance, and of course fuel, as well as the insurance, and for some people, this is not a small part of it, the parking. Now, owning, of course, is what we mean by, of course, things like payments. Right? Now, of course, once you've made all the payments, you own the vehicle, you don't have to pay it anymore. But notice the rest of this stuff won't go away. Even once you're done making the payments to own the vehicle, keeping it maintained mechanically, putting fuel into it, and even if you're going to go with an electric car, electricity is not free. There's also insurance and parking. So, when choosing a vehicle, I was showing you that website, and you can look around other websites, just to show you that, as much as I'd like to drive the Batmobile or the Mystery Machine, it's not a reasonable thing for me to be thinking about. Buying a vehicle is a major purchase, probably second only to purchasing your home in terms of the biggest decision you're going to make financially in your life. Since a lot of money is spent on a vehicle, it's important to make an informed choice. Choosing the right vehicle demands some time and effort for research, and the factors you should consider are the number of passengers. I have a wife and 3 grown boys who all still live at home, and the Batmobile seats 2, so I don't know what we do with a Batmobile, so that one's out. The Mystery Machine would fit everybody, I gotta admit. All 5 of us and a big dog could fit in there. Scoob and the gang. But then I'd have to start thinking about fuel economy. I have a minivan, and that's hard enough on gas. I could only imagine what that big old pig would be on gasoline. So fuel efficiency is a major concern. How much are you going to be spending on fuel? Gas is not cheap. And of course, you should ask yourself, can I afford it? Can I maintain the payments on the vehicle that I want? And finally, something like, does this vehicle match our needs? Now, there is such a thing as people who have hobby vehicles. It's not something that they need, it's something that they like, it's their hobby. But let's keep in mind that's a major purchase and a major thing in their life. Are you so in love with cars that that's going to be your major hobby? Working on it, fixing it up, putting lots of money into it, cruising it around on Sunday nights instead of watching TV or reading a book or surfing the net because you are into cars. Well, if that's you, cool. Lots of people like that. But that's not the kind of vehicle purchase we're going to talk about in this course. We are talking about the vehicles we buy because we need them. I'll have more stuff to present on that as this unit goes on. So, vehicle of your own. Example 1. If you wish to borrow money to purchase a car, financial planners generally advise that your total monthly debt repayment should be no more than 40% of your net income. I mean, remember, net income, net means before deductions. Oh, sorry. Net means after deductions. I'm sorry. I said that wrong. And then I wrote it down wrong. My bad. After taxes and deductions. Also known as your net income is also known as your take home pay. Okay, if your monthly net income is $1,200, so after taxes and everything, that's how much you bring home, what is the maximum monthly debt repayment you can afford? Well, that would be 40% of $1,200, which is 0.4 times $1,200. And I could use a calculator for that. 0.4 times $1,200 is $480. And now keep in mind, that's debt. That includes any loans or credit card or mortgage payment that you might have as well. So $480 isn't going to go very far unless you get yourself a very economical vehicle. Example 2, working backwards. What is the minimum monthly net income that is needed if you wish to take a loan with monthly payments of $600? So we're going to work this one backwards. 40% of some number is $600. I like algebra. So to me, 40% is 0.4. Of means multiply, so I'm going to multiply it by something. And when I'm multiplying by a number I don't know, what do you usually do in algebra when there's a number you don't know? That's right, you call it x. So I'm solving the equation 0.4x is equal to 600. Do you remember how to get rid of a multiply on a variable? That's right, you divide both sides of the equation by 0.4. So x is going to be 600 divided by 0.4. I don't know what that is, I'm going to have to punch button. 600 divided by 0.4. And that is $1,500 per month. If you don't make $1,500 a month at least, and you're reasonably debt-free other than that, there's no way a bank would lend you the money to buy the vehicle with payments of $600 a month. Just not going to happen. Okay, example 3. Total amount paid. A 2018 Explorer Sport 4-wheel drive is purchased from a dealer in Selkirk, Manitoba for $44,036. By the way, that's probably low for a vehicle like that. This might be an old number. What are the total taxes paid on this price? Well, for a new vehicle, you pay GST and PST on new vehicles. Okay, and of course the PST. Now you know what? I actually don't remember when the new rule kicked in, so I'm going to look it up. GST and PST in Manitoba in 2020. There we go. So I have a feeling. There we go. So the GST is 5%, and yep, we are at 7% now. All my old answer keys are going to be wrong, so I'm going to have to make new answer keys this year. So I think all my answer keys say 8%. So I'm going to have to check into that. Yeah, they all do. So I'm going to have to make new answer keys. All right, I'll be on that. So anyway, that means that it is now 5% and 7% of this. So what is the total taxes paid? Well, we pay 7% in PST on $44,036. And we pay 5% GST. So we need those two numbers, and we're going to add them together. So I'm going to punch buttons. So let's see, 0.07 times 44,036. That's $3,082. Now remember, this is money. We round it to two places. It is only two places. 3082. 3082. Yeah, 3082. Decimal 52, and then I want 0.05 times $44,036, and that is 2,000. Now, you guys, some of you are in a bad habit of leaving this as a 0.8. It's money. It can't be 0.8. It is 2201.80. Now, that doesn't really matter for the next step. I have to find a total for those taxes paid, so I'm going to add this number to the 3082.52, and I get, that's a lot of tax you're actually paying when you buy yourself a new vehicle. Check that out. $5,284.32. Over $5,000 in tax. Yikes. And so the total amount paid is going to be the 5284.32 plus the 44,036. So plus 44,036, which was the purchase price of the vehicle. Yep. And there we go. We are looking at, so let me write the purchase price down. So this is tax, this is price, and the total is $49,320.32. And there we go. So there's the first three examples. Your homework will have questions like that. We might as well move into lesson 2. It's more of the same. Maintenance and repairs. How do we calculate maintenance and repairs? Well, vehicles are expensive. It costs money to replace the things that break, even regular wear and tear. You have to replace the tires every once in a while. All of this stuff costs money. What you do is you find a subtotal, and the subtotal is the total cost of all parts and labors before tax. Then you calculate the individual taxes, and remember we just looked this up. PST is not 8 anymore, it's now 7, so you might want to change that. And then GST is 5%, and then you add on the taxes for the total. Okay, so let's take a look at this example. Jane took her vehicle to a car dealer in Manitoba for servicing. The oil and the oil filter were changed and new wiper blades were installed. The cost for parts was as follows. She paid for 4 liters of oil, $9.69 per liter. One oil filter was $14.99, and then she bought 2 wiper blades for $16.99 each, and it took them 0.6 hours. And the shop rate for labor, yeah, this is about right, about $110 an hour. How much does this cost? So let's add all this up. She bought 4 oils for $9.69 each. I'm writing on the ledge of my table here. Let me move up a bit. There we go. Plus, she bought 1 oil filter for $14.99. Plus, she bought 2 wiper blades for $16.99. Then she paid for 0.6 of $110. Okay, so that's labor and parts. So yes, you pay GST and PST on all of this, including labor. So let's run that through the calculator. Now this is a scientific calculator, so you don't have to find this number, then this number, and then this number. You can do this all at once. So it is 4 times 9.69 plus 14.99 plus 2 times 16.99 plus 0.6 of 110. Boom! We're looking at $153.73, and we call that our subtotal. All that was just step 1. Subtotal. Okay, so we now have to put PST and GST on that. Now, calculating the individual taxes, I'm actually going to break my own rule too here. Does it say in the question how much was the tax and then how much is it going to cost in total? Does it ever say it once specifically how much the taxes are? No, just how much is this going to cost Jane? How much does she have to pay in total is what we want. So I'm going to make our lives a little easier here. The 7% PST and the 5% GST together is 12%. And remember, we've seen this trick before. Rather than finding 12% of this number and then adding it, why don't I take 100% of this number and 12% of this number, which is a total of 112% of the number. So I want 112% of $153.73, and I'll use the same trick I used above. Change that to a decimal, 1.12, and $153.73. And so all I got to do is take the number that's already on my screen and times it by 1.12. Boom. So her bill, and now here's where I got to round, right? Remember, it's money. So this 7 becomes an 8. So it's $172.18. And that's how you do maintenance calculations. Okay, so that's it. That's the first 2 lessons all wrapped in one. We'll have an assignment for you on the blog, and see you at the next lesson.